express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, more juicy. Coming up. Yeah. Come on up now. Can't stop me. Come on. You coming up.
Hey, everybody. We are live. Welcome to the House of Peach. It's time. It is time for our show this evening. How are you guys doing today? So we've been having a little technical difficulties today. However, this is going to be a great show. So this is my sign to let me know and everyone else know that because we are having some things going on, that this is going to be amazing. I hope you all have had a great day. My day has been busy as usual, and I'm waiting for Morgan. She's trying to get back in. So sooner or later, this is all going to sync together. So we here at the House of Peach welcome you to our Hop series. We are here every single Tuesday evening at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 6:15 Central Standard Time, which is the time zone that I'm in currently, and then 4:15 Pacific. So you have multiple times. If you're in a different time zone, it doesn't even matter. We have everything available for you all the times. We're streaming live on the House of Peach page. We're streaming live on YouTube. And guess what? We need you to subscribe. There's a QR code in the corner of your screen. If you have not subscribed to the House of Peach, hey, why not? Why haven't you? You need to subscribe so you get the notification of when we're live, when we're having events, because we want you to participate. We want you to be a part of everything. All right. So we want to make sure that you know what's going on. So do me a favor. Can you do me a favor and share? Let people know that we are on. I can't even put it on my page tonight. So that lets me know that we are going to have a phenomenal show. Resilience in life and business. So you're going to need to be resilient when things don't go the way that you think they should go. When you don't think that things are moving as fast as you want or as smoothly, you still got to stay the course. All right. So let us make sure that tonight that we are going to have things done properly. Our guest is here and ready to go, but I want to make sure that we get some more viewers on. No one has said anything in the comments, and if you know someone who's not on yet, I need you to call them. I need you to text them. I need you to send a smoke signal. I need you to do something that's going to let them know that the House of Peach is on. That Hop series is today. Today is Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. Oh my God. I just realized what the date is. Do you know this day, one whole year ago, we had our very first Hop series show right here. 1 year ago today. Happy anniversary. And if I could make the confetti thing in the background fall down, I would do that. We're 1 year old. Yay to us. And 2023 was amazing. We had some phenomenal guests. Hey, Mo. Can you hear me? Hello? Oh no, Mo can't hear me. Well, I'm gonna keep talking until she can get in. 1 year ago today, we started the Hop series, and Morgan and I just came in and we took it and ran with it. And the guests that we have had on this past year, nothing short of amazing. Some amazing women. And when we had our he said, she said, men came on too. So we do female entrepreneurs. We are just highlighting the great things that's going on. Mo, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, your screen is frozen, but that's okay. We'll just let it go as it is. So, Mo, happy 1 year anniversary.
We made it a whole year.
I know. So I was just telling everyone that this day 1 year ago, we started Hop Series as the host, and it has been a ride, and I mean in a great way, like one of those exciting rides where you just don't want to get off, you just want to ride over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
That's what we've done every single month. We've had some great guests come on with dropping some gems, some serious information, just wonderful stuff. People have been connected. I know I utilized some services and bought some products myself, and they are doing well. So we had our, what is it? Where are they now? We had that going on. So we were able to get a few guests on to see where they've been since the last time. And everybody has been doing great, like moving forward and excelling. What do you think about all of that?
I know.
No, it's been great. It's been great. And then you, being the genius that you are, came up with the he said, she said. Oh my goodness. So
We've
the
been having
last
fun
two,
with that, haven't we?
say what now?
I said, we've been having fun with that, haven't we?
We have been. So Morgan came up with the title. So the last Tuesday in every single month, we have he said, she said. And it's topics where we have male and female perspective, bring them on. We discuss a topic, and we've had some great guests come on to give their input. It's been good. It has been really good. So if y'all thought 2023 was good, oh, I want you to fasten your seatbelts, because 2024 has been, these past 2.5 weeks have been like, oh my goodness. And we're booked up until like May, June. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been crazy. And it only started just a few weeks ago. You know?
I know. I'm excited. Hello, Jason. Thank you so much.
Yes,
1
thank you,
year.
Jason.
Yay. So make sure you share this out. Let people know that we are on. I know I can't even get it on my page right now. I don't know, but it's okay. We're going to make it. This show is going to be great tonight. So what do you have to say to the people today, Mo?
About my day? What? I'm still over here trying to get myself together because I'm frozen, and you just throwing me on the spot. Like,
Come on, you can handle it. You got it.
Get my life together.
We take it and we roll with it. Look, what is the title? You got to be resilient. You got to be resilient. We can handle it. You got it. I'm going to give you a moment. We're going to give Mo. Let's give Mo a moment. Let's give her a moment. Oh, and then she's gone. Oh, my goodness gracious. There she is.
No, I'm here. It was just a little backlash from before. Okay, we're here. We're good. Yes, like you said, resilient. It's the bounce back. We just keep moving. But my multitasking ticker is a little on the slow side at the end of the day. I've been a little fried. But yeah, today I'm actually super, super excited. Because talk about resilience. We had to do a little switcheroo. We are rescheduling our guest for this evening, who was her name is Jo Peters. She unfortunately has been delayed where she was. She was in beautiful Puerto Rico and is having a hard time getting back home. So with that being said, talk about bounce back. Our guest today, first off, April, like I didn't even get a chance to, like, I dabbled a little bit about our guest today, but she is absolutely amazing. I had a ton of fun talking to her. I felt just like when you and I met, it was like a girlfriend. We could sit down on the couch and just be like, girl, tell me. And she just can just unpack and pour and laugh and joke. Full, like high energy. So beyond being a fitness coach, Tabitha is a best-selling co-author, a speaker, a life and business coach. Her diverse skill set and passion for helping people achieve their dreams have made her a sought-after mentor. And Tabitha's podcast, where she has a podcast where she shares inspiring stories and insights and adds another dimension to her impactful presence. So Her journey epitomizes resilience, determination, and the pursuit of dreams, leaving a positive impact on those fortunate enough to cross paths with this energetic and inspiring individual. So, like I said, energetic and inspiring. Tabitha is here to talk to us about just resilience in life and in business, all the way, y'all, from, you ready?
Where?
Nebraska.
Okay. Before long, we will have had a guest from every single
state. That is the plan. That is the plan.
Y'all gotta be ready for us. Y'all are not ready for what we have going on. Okay, I am excited. I have questions. I want to hear everything that she has to say tonight. Everything. So we're gonna bring her in. Come on in.
There we go.
Hello. Hi. Hello, beautiful ladies.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you all? Like you got like your I didn't know it was 1 year anniversary. Like I feel like I should have brought a gift or something like confetti or something. Like, dude, that's awesome. Good craft.
Hey, you are the gift.
You are the gift.
I gotta bring it. I gotta like bring it, right?
Oh yeah. You gotta. We know you will. We know you have some great gems and nuggets to drop on us tonight. So we're ready because I have my pen ready and I got some paper somebody close by. So if I have to take some notes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yes. So first off, Tabitha, I was like, give our audience a little bit about yourself and what gets you, I guess, excited and up in the morning.
Oh, awesome. Yes. Well, whenever people read my bio, I always tell them, I like give them information. I'm like, but you don't have to read it verbatim because I just think it sounds like pompous or whatever, you know, like when you, I mean, I'm not old, but like when you say it like that, I feel like I should be 60 or something like that. Yeah. So I live in rural Nebraska. I married my high school sweetheart. We met when I was 15. We've been together 23 years and we have 5 beautiful daughters. And, you know, that always causes a little break in whenever I'm speaking. But yes, we have 5 beautiful daughters. They range from 14 to 1. So there's a lot of, you know, I have teens and toddlers. So there's a lot of emotion in our house right now.
Your husband, I feel sorry for him. I'm so
no, ladies, here's the thing. You know that he is spoiled rotten, right? Like they love on him like crazy. He is so taken care of, and they're like daddy's girls, and like, yeah, he do not ever feel sorry for him. You know, I'm the one who like has to manage the emotion, right? Like I'm the female in the house. Like I gotta like bring it to the level, you know, bring it to the equilibrium there. But no, we love it. They are awesome. They range from all different sorts of personalities. And so definitely challenging. Resilience is I could do a whole podcast on resilience and parenthood of 3 daughters. I totally could. But yes, so me and my husband started real estate investing when I was 19 and he was 21. So almost 2 decades, which is, again, makes me sound old. I don't know. And then we knew really early on that we wanted to be entrepreneurs. And honestly, it's just because I don't like to be told what to do by somebody else. So I was like, I got to figure out a way. And I live in a very rural town. So, you know, when I got introduced to like fitness coaching, fitness training, fitness instructing, I just fell in love with it. Because honestly, like I loved what it did for the body, but for the mind as well. And then the camaraderie when I was doing like group exercise coaching and things like that. And I didn't realize, but God had planted those seeds in me many years before, and I just dismissed them. And he did it because when I went to a group exercise class, it was a kickboxing class, and I love kickboxing. So I went all the time. And one of the instructors was sick, and she's like, you could teach this class. And I remember I laughed at her, like literally could not believe that I could lead a group exercise class, because although I seemed confident on the outside, I had very low self-esteem when it came to like weight and body image and exercise. And I just never felt worthy enough. And so I remember laughing at it, but it planted a seed in my mind. And so when the opportunity came, I was like, yes, like I secretly wanted to do that. And so I just like immersed myself in it, and it was awesome. And then I got involved with like direct selling, and this company was phenomenal, but I never really looked at it like I was a business owner, although I was teaching people, and especially women, how to do a business and be a mom at home. And I didn't realize that I was becoming this entrepreneur beyond my husband, because me and my husband had been entrepreneurs together, but this was like me separating myself and saying, I am a CEO. But I never identified that in the moment. It took years, and it took a lot of seeds that God planted in other people to speak life into me that said, yes, you can do this and you can raise your babies. And what a CEO, how you identify as that, are all old dated images of, you know, movies that I saw of a woman in a 1980s like power suit, you know, and I'm like, I am not that. It's not me. And dropping my kids off at daycare and working 12 hours in an office. And that's how I viewed it. And so as the layers peeled back, resiliency really became almost an identity, because it wasn't that I was like it wasn't like if I was going to go through struggles, it was when I went through struggles, how fast can I bounce back and figure out that problem and find the solution, and then go and help other people figure out that problem and find that solution. Because I knew I loved helping people. I always wanted to be a counselor. I actually wanted to be a marriage counselor. But my advisor when I was in college, when I graduated with my bachelor's, I was like, okay, I'm going to get my master's and then maybe my doctorate. I didn't want to go to school forever, but I wanted to help people. And she said, by the time people come to us, it's too late. And I was like, I'm a results driven person. I'm not going to go to school for 8 years and then have them like their marriage disintegrate. Like that's
Right.
crappy. So along the way, I learned like the way I could help people was just a different path. But the seeds that I had planted in me for years of helping people, they came to fruition in different form. And so as life, you know, unraveled and we had 2 more babies and COVID hit and all of these things, I had a choice. I could just say, okay, that was fun for a while. I had a little coaching business for a few years. I helped some people in personal development. I actually helped some coaches, you know, do their business. That's great. That was a hobby. Or I could say, okay, I have 2 babies and they need me. And I have 3 older ones that still need me. And I need me to step into my power. So how can I do all those things and find joy and not be burnt out and not have the hustle and grind? And so I just invested in me. I took the steps and I coughed up some cash for some different masterminds, to be surrounded by people, different entrepreneurs, to hone my craft of speaking, to just be in the room with other people. And I made that decision and made that choice, even though I still felt a little bit like a failure, like I wasn't getting the revenue, because I had to put my coaching business aside because I couldn't nurse and be taking coaching clients, and I knew I couldn't invest in them like I wanted to. So I had to get out of my own way and say, continue to invest in coaching, continue to invest here. I did a lot of reading when I was nursing. I did a lot of soul searching when I was, you know, on the floor with them and doing tummy time and all that kind of stuff. And when I was taking kids to cheer practice and stuff, I still had to invest in me. And that was truly what I felt like resilience was in that time of quiet, like slowing down to speed up, which is hard for me because I'm a goer, I'm an activator. Let's go, let's think about it later.
Absolutely.
I had to slow down in order for 2024 for us to just quantum leap. That's what's been happening. Even in January, I just look at it and I'm like, we have all these things developing and I should be super overwhelmed. And I'm like in my sweet spot. Like, I love it. I'm like, bring it on. This is great. Let's go. Come on. Let's do this.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So much to unpack. But I love what you said about investing, that you invested in yourself, because that's something that we as women, we don't really do.
No.
And then we get to the overwhelmed stage and then we want to give up because,
Yeah.
and I'm glad you said that you put your money together to do what was necessary to invest in you, because a lot of times we don't do that. You have their classes are available, the workshops are available, and we find other things to do. And then when we're in the same spot we were in 6 months later, we're still where we were, then we're upset because we're still there, but you have the opportunity to get out of that and to move forward. Soul searching is vital. Like I've been doing that for me personally for over a year and a half, and really getting to know myself and the things that make me tick and the things
Yes.
that make me upset and where my heart really is and all of that. So, those of you that are listening, that soul searching is so vital. Now, I want to ask you this.
Yes.
Was that any point, did you have any point during this time where you were like, I can't do this, I just too much, I'm done? And how did you navigate through that to get over it?
Every Wednesday. No. Okay. So, I mean, there are so many moments that I've been literally like on my bathroom floor in the fetal
Mm,
position during nap time, and it's like tears are running down my face. And I just spent like, 5 figures on a coaching program that I thought was going to get me to my goal. And, there was a stuck moment of
mm,
moving forward and just that desperation. And the enemy knows my weaknesses.
yes.
And it's just like he just digs in there. But you know what? He knows my weaknesses, but God knows my strengths. And I
Mm-hmm.
have the Holy Spirit in me. And I don't know what your belief system up here is, but like for me, it's that or
Oh,
that.
we believers. We believers up here.
And so every time that I have those moments, it's in that voice that's like, but you're gonna get up and you're gonna
Yeah.
wipe your tears and you're gonna go and you're gonna do one thing. Just one thing. And it doesn't
Mm,
have to be all the things. It's just one thing. And the enemy has always wanted me to muzzle me, like my whole
mm,
life. He has put people, as much as God has put people in my life to help me along the path, because
mhm,
Satan is putting people in my path to muzzle me. If you're too loud, you're too energetic, you're too much, you're too this, you're too that, stop speaking, like all the stuff to
mhm,
muzzle me. And I believed that because I was little and I didn't know any better.
mhm,
But again, there were other people that were like, but you're so energetic and you have, so much to speak and you're inspiring. But I think as women, it's like we accept the negativity and we deflect the positivity
mm,
because somehow it makes us humble
mm.
or it makes us like, seem not as arrogant. I'm not arrogant when I say the strengths that God gives me because I know where I get them. And
Right,
without
right.
him, I would be a complete mess. And I was for a lot of years. And
Mhm,
so, with that, in those moments, it's like, just remember, I'm like, Tab, remember why you're here and that you don't have to have, I'm a visionary. So I
mhm,
see things big. And if I don't have them, then sometimes I'm like, oh, like I want to quit, and it's like, okay. But if you weren't going to quit and you you didn't need to have 100 billion subscribers, what would you do next? Like if
yeah,
you just had one person and
mhm,
it's okay, let me reach out to someone, let me give a word of kindness, a word of encouragement. And like, how can I serve? Whenever I get self-inflicted of like, poor me, or why am I not more? I'm like, the first thing I think of is how can I serve somebody else, whether that's even my children or my husband or somebody else. What kind word or word of encouragement can I go live and just speak life into somebody? Because then it's like, okay, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm called to serve. We all know what lights us up.
mhm,
But because it's not like somebody else, we play the comparison game. Then we
mhm,
think, oh, I shouldn't do that. Like people will say, well, Tab, I don't have your energy. I can't speak like you. Well, that's a good thing because not everybody is receptive to my speaking, but they're
mhm.
receptive to yours.
Yeah.
And I'm a fast pace, and some people are slower pace. They like more one on one. My husband's amazing at one on one connections.
Mhm,
And so he can sit down and we can look at our differences and our weaknesses and think, oh, I wish I was like that. Or we can pour into our strengths and say, okay, God, give me more of that. I promise that I will use this for good if you just give me more of that. And you
mm,
shared that you are working on your soul. And so
mm,
we do a lot of self-care, right? Like women, it's like, okay, we're okay with like doing a spa day or doing a mask and doing this. But what about your soul care?
mm,
What are you doing to really, I mean, truly get to your soul of
mhm,
what lights you up? What are your dreams? What are your passions? And they're not wrong
mhm.
because they're not like everybody else's.
Yeah.
And so stop comparing and work on the soul more than the self because the self will emerge when the
Mhm.
soul is on fire. And
Yeah.
when we do with that, our
Yeah.
calling, that's what it is.
Ooh,
That was
if
a
y'all have to
family
share
affair.
this out, y'all need to share. I told you that this is going to be so good. You are just blessing me. I'm sitting here like, oh, I'm trying to sit still, but I'm gonna take a
Yes.
walk in a
Take
minute.
care of the soul so the self can emerge like that. Listen,
Oh,
that needs to be on put that on a t-shirt tab, okay?
Yeah, I need to write. I might need this. Sometimes I forget what I say, and I need to like a
That's
playback.
look, we will send you the replay. This way you can go back.
Transcribe it
yes,
all, because
yes.
it's the Holy Spirit, guys. I mean, I have no doubt when I'm not being humble here. It's like I ask God to give me the words because He gifted me with that, and I'm
Mhm.
not going to use that lightly, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to, placate anybody that says it because it's like it's in me. I'm a vessel. That is it.
Yes.
And you're a vessel. Every single person on here, you ladies are vessels. You're amazing. You're interviewing people. You're going out there. You're finding other people to showcase. That is amazing in and of itself. There's nothing that's a devalue. Nothing. And that's what I love about when you truly use your gifting. He will emerge in it and he will give you what you need.
Yeah, every single
Absolutely.
time. I love the
Absolutely.
planting seeds. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Morgan, you better say something, otherwise I'm just gonna keep rattling off. You know me, so I'm gonna
Well, listen, I had the pleasure of having a grand old time with Tabitha
We
a
did.
few
Yep.
weeks ago. So I was like, I will let you fire off a couple of things
oh my
before I
goodness.
get into some nitty gritty. Because I like to always talk about how we need to have in that bounce back flexibility is necessary.
Mhm.
And if we get into a place of such rigidity, whether that's relationship and or in business, we tend to miss out on some things that, because we're like almost hyper focused. So what are some ways to, I guess, be able to be flexible, even if, because some people think flexibility means you have to divert from your path or you have to divert from, the plan that was already there. So how do you allow for that flexibility, but then still stay the course?
Right. Well, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs, I mean, and women in general, you have the line between insanity, right? Like doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, but also staying consistent enough to where like you reap the benefits. So I always, even in my journey, I like to say persistent. My husband likes to say stubborn, potato, potato. It has its good, it has its bad, right? And God gifted me with a daughter too, actually, that are very persistent. So I totally get it. But I think being persistent on your vision and being all in on your vision and what you truly desire, and not just the desire like a house and a car. And, I have all those things too. Like, I mean, it's okay to have those, but like my vision of my family, the vision of the impact that I want, that I won't, muzzle my mouth anymore, that I'll be brave and I'll be courageous and I'll invest in other businesses. I'll invest in myself, like that vision, my marriage, like the bigger vision. And then knowing, okay, there's a lot of paths to that. There's a lot of ways to earn money. There's a lot of ways for marketing. There's a lot of ways for sales. And saying, okay, I'm going to do this one. It's due diligence. And I'm going to go all in. And I'm going to be persistent in this. But I'm also going to be hyper aware of my blind spots. That's why coaching and mentorship is so big. And also realizing, okay, it doesn't have to just be one path, but I can't do multiple. So for instance, right now with marketing, I'm doing 2 paths of marketing. I've never done that. But I'm like, okay, if I want to do organic, like my goal is 100 stages this year, whether that's podcasts, summits, lives, it doesn't matter. Like just get me in front of 100 different audiences. Okay. But I also want and know that there's a lot of cold traffic, cold people that don't know me yet. And that can be an expensive game. And so I don't know that game as well. So I'm going to have to put up some money because I don't necessarily have the time to learn that and be in that. And so I'm going to put money over here and some time because I am going to learn it. I do think you cannot be completely ignorant. You have to be
Right.
well-founded. You have to know a little bit or you will be taken advantage of. But I'm going to be knowledgeable enough to know and guide and lead this over here and put some money to it. And then I'm going to do some time over here because first of all, this brings me joy. Like I love connecting, especially live audiences. Like I just love that. So it not only brings me joy, but it's going to reap me an ROI of organic reach and eventually with my business. So I'm getting multifaceted here. And also on the other side, yeah, I'm paying out, but I'm learning a new skill. I'm introduced to do some new coaches and coaching styles. And me as a leader, how can I lead that? Because that's different than I've ever done before. So I'm getting uncomfortable and expanding myself in two different ways, but the goal's the same. The financial goal is the same, to get a business to a certain level. So that is the same. And I'm not stuck in like, it only has to be this way or it can only be this. But I'm also not the shiny object syndrome, which people say, entrepreneurs are very, equipped to having. And honestly, I don't think it's the shiny object. I think it's they're so desperate. And when I say they, I mean me. We're so desperate to reach our goals that when somebody says something that like leaps out in our heart, like a desire, we want it to work so much that we're like, okay, I'm going to grasp that because that is what I want. And the thing I did before didn't work. And so we're just grasping at that desire. It's not that we want the next thing. We just want something to work.
Right.
Something to excel us in that financial. Can I get an amen? Like,
amen. You're right.
Marketing to stop promising things and then stick you in a group coaching where they're like, consume 1,800 hours of courses that I don't have time for. And I might stick you with a coach that may or may not know what to do. And yes, connect with people in a Facebook group. I mean, it's like crickets in there. Let's be honest, And so we're grasping for that because we desire a life better than what we are. We don't want mediocrity. We want that life of abundance. We want that life of just more more impact, more love, more joy. It's not just about money, but we know that money can help and it can serve and it can impact.
Yes.
So I really focus on, and currently this is something, is really hiring the right people and really being discerning with that. And then and knowing that I can't do it all. And then where my gifts are, really pouring into that and how that can reap me an ROI. Because I can't keep doing what I'm doing if I don't have some sort of income coming back. And I know I can reach people at a higher level when they invest in me as like a coach or even in my podcast or whatever. When they invest their time or their money, they're going to elevate their life. And so I do know the importance of that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I definitely heard that, in that bounce back, you should be expecting that propulsion to be taking you a lot further than where you are. So just because it's a fallback or a pause or a pullback, this is only to be able to allow your reach to be a lot further once there's a let go.
Yes. Yep. I mean, just think of a rubber band.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like when you get a rubber band, it's like it's so stiff and you have to extend it and then you bring it back. Then you can't just keep extending or it's going to break. And I feel like that was what I needed for the past 3 years. And trust me, it wasn't a break, guys. Like I had a newborn and another kind of newborn. Like they're 14 months apart. Like,
oh, wow.
And a teenager and a preteen and a middle. And so, I mean, like, but my mind, I feel like that is what really built the resiliency, because in those really hard times, and my husband farms. And farming the last 2 years has just been really, really hard with what the economy goes through. But we always said we were not going to let the economy run the way that we saw our life. Like it might be a step back, but it was definitely not going to pull us back. It will be a set up for what we're really called to do. And we weren't going to live in scarcity because we both grew up very scarcity mindset. And I said, I will always have this abundant mindset, because if we're scarce and we're scarce with our money and we're scarce with our time, the economy suffers even more. And I feel like entrepreneurs are the ones that are going to bring us out, because they're not going to think scarce. They're going to think abundant. They're going to keep going out and buying houses and going to restaurants and buying from boutiques and small business owners. And those business owners don't have to shut their doors. And everybody else is going to like close fist it, but we're going to lift up and we're going to go forward with that. So that's what excites me.
Absolutely. Can you actually elaborate just a little bit on that scarcity, like especially with that mindset, and how that survival mentality can honestly be more detrimental than positive towards growth.
Yes. I mean, do you have like an hour or two? I mean, I've done a whole podcast on this topic.
Exactly. Well, drop your cliff notes for right now. We'll get you back.
Okay. I will. So, I mean, there are some people that didn't grow up this way, but a lot of the entrepreneurs that I talk with, they grew up and it was a scarcity mindset. Like for me, I like to say we're right above welfare. I mean, I remember being on food stamps. My dad worked 80, sometimes 90 hours a week, blue collar. My mom had an autoimmune disease, so she was bedridden a lot. And there was 5 of us kids. So, I mean, money was just not abundant. So I always like the phrases. I mean, you can put your hand up or put it in the comments if you've ever heard like money doesn't grow on trees, or we have to buy it on clearance, or I don't care if you're hungry, you're going to finish what's on your plate because that, wasn't free. And, all of those things. And all the money's the root of all evil, or only, bankers and lawyers and stockbrokers have money. Like those were the only things, like I told you before, I only saw a professional woman of like, giving up her soul to be on the corporate ladder. Like there was just no role models that I saw and no abundance happening that was good. And so I thought I was actually being a better Christian, by saving everything and being frugal and like having that kind of mindset. And when I got into this world and I learned abundance and prosperity, just thinking bigger than the money itself, like that's just a material thing. And what I thought my limiting beliefs were, because if you would have told me, someone could make $1 million in a year or be a millionaire, whatever, however you want to phrase it, like that was like euphoric to me. That wasn't even like, all I knew was to hustle and all I knew was to work really, really hard. Well, guess what? If working hard made you a multimillionaire, then my dad would have been a multimillionaire by the age of 35 because he's the most hardworking man I've ever met until I met my husband. So it's not about how hard you work. It's about working smarter.
Right.
Human beings, the thing that separates us from animals, because I'm not going to be stronger than the elephant. I'm not going to be faster than the cheetah. The only thing that separates us is our mind and our creativity and what we can develop and what we can create. And for me, I live in America, so I have a lot of different opportunities. The only thing that limits me literally is my mind. And so I had to listen to a lot of things to rewire my brain and just the words that I would say. Like in my house, I don't like to say it's too expensive. My kids will say something like that. And I'm like, compared to what? What is that expensive compared to what? Because everything is relative. Or, that's too much, or they're rich. And I ask my kids like, well, what's rich? Because my girls ask me like, Mom, are we rich? And I'm like, well, yeah, really we are. I mean, in like what context? And words hold a lot of power.
Yeah.
And when we think we aren't something, we're not going to do the things it takes to get that. And I learned different levels of like how we're created and monetary value and value in general, because I'm like, I'm not saving lives. Like I'm not a surgeon, a brain surgeon. And so, you can compare yourself to different things and really feel devalued. But if we really paid people their value, then firefighters, police officers, teachers, they would be the multimillionaires because they are the ones who are serving at a higher level. They're the ones who are helping our kids and educating our kids. And so it's really stretching the imagination when it comes to how you view money, what kind of hold it has on you. Are you willing to let it go? Are you really willing to let it go and see what happens? And what I mean by that is like, we're real estate investors. So my husband can go and spend $250,000, $500,000 on a house because he's like, okay, my ROI of that is anywhere from 10% to 14%. And I'm like, okay, awesome. So, hey, would you go and spend $250,000 on some ads for me? Like go invest that in some ads for me. And then I will help the people. I'll do a high ticket code. And he can't quite grasp that, right? Because in his mind, that's not the right investment. And so I told him, I said, when you look at things as investment of what you can reap, if you believe in the source that can get it there, you're going to do it. And everybody has their cap. Everybody has their relativity moment. Everybody has their expensive then moment. And you have to really stretch that and go outside the norm to be outside the norm. Because you're never going to save yourself to wealth. You're not. When you save it, you're hoarding it. Flourish in the savings account. You have to release it. You have to go buy something from that boutique. You need to go to that restaurant. You need to go to that mentor and say, how can I build a business that's going to be 6 figures? And they're going to share it with you. And you go back and forth, and that flourishes into it, right? You have to invest in different relationships where they flourish and they build businesses and they do things in the environment and the economy so that we stop living like this. Everybody's like this right now because they're scared it's going to fall out. Well, guess what? We have been through a recession before and we have come out before. And the way we do that is not living like this. We
Yeah.
live in a giving, serving, not being stupid with your money. You're not going out and just like racking up your credit. You're being smart with it, but you're not hoarding it and you're not like sitting on it in your backyard because cryptocurrency went under or whatever is going on in the marketplace or there's war. There's always been war. I mean, I hate that there's war going on, but guess what? There's always been war. And there's always been things that have made the market go up and down. We've been in real estate for 20 years. Do you think that we've seen the market go up and down? Yes, we have. The one thing is like we do not hold it, we release it. And that has been something really the last 5 years where I had to take time and go backwards. That has really hit me home and really nailed into what will bring us abundance is giving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so the law of sowing and reaping,
Mhm.
you sow and you're going to reap. And
Yep.
I remember I went to a retreat the end of 22 and we did an assessment on what type of earner we were. And at that time, mine turned out to be an anxious earner. So every time I made money, I'm like, hold on to it. Like, oh, I need to hold it for this. I need to hold it for that. And then it seemed like I never could get ahead. No matter how much I held it, I never could get ahead. And then when I saw that, I was so outdone. Like, what? And then I began to do the release. If I saw things, so if there was a workshop that I wanted to take, I would invest in that because I would see what it could do for me.
Yep.
If there was something that my kids wanted within reason, like I'm
Right.
not just going out, within
Right. You
reason,
have to be smart.
say, oh no, you can't have that. We got to just hold on to this because my older kids, that's how it was. So I never really, every now and then I got them something, but it was more like, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that. But with my youngest, I'm like, man, she's traveled more than my three older kids, like everywhere. We've been everywhere.
Yes.
So now I am a lot more relaxed. But you said something so key. You gotta trust the source. Who is our source? God is the one that puts things in place and
Yep.
puts us in position to have opportunities. But if we're like this all the time, you're not going to ever encounter this opportunity because He knows what you're going to do with it. Are you going to hold on to the talent, or are you going to go out and make more with the talents that He gave you?
Yes.
So now I take what I have and what's in me and what excites me. Let me see what else I can do, what else I can do. So I'm teaching class today. It's so funny. I was teaching class today because I'm in surgery. So I teach in surgical technology, and I'm teaching. I just started at this new college, and the students, they're just kind of disgruntled and they should be. But the thing was what they were talking about and the issues they were having. I'm sitting here like antsy because I know in the position that I am and how long I've been in the field, I could go in and fix this program and it would be amazing. Like, I'm like, oh my God. I just feel so like helpless, but that's my passion, is doing that and being able to go in because I fix things. I'm the it girl. So I go into programs and situations and I fix things. And when I do, I feel so accomplished with that. So even in business, like when I introduce something to people in business and I see them take it and run with it, or in their personal lives, if I give them some information and they take it and run with it, it's like, yes, this is it. This is what I need to do. And I find that joy. So people that are watching, you find that thing that excites you, that motivates you, and you do that. Don't hold on and hoard what you have. God planted stuff into us, not for just us, it's for others. So
Yes.
this gifting, this anointing that you have is not just for you, it's for others. And so as you go out and do those things that he's commissioned you to do and that he's leading you to do and that he's presenting for you, then that's where the businesses flourish. See, people get a different mindset. They're like, oh, it didn't work in 6 months. Well, did you really put in the work? Were
Yep.
you consistent? Were you resilient? When
Yep.
things were bad, did you still hold on and you keep pressing forward? Or did you just go sit in the corner and like, I'm not doing it anymore, I'm done? So then you never, a year from now, you're still going to be in the same position where if you had just kept going and kept pushing and pushed through that. How, let the people know, as far as business is concerned, how do you just keep pushing forward every day? What is it that keeps you motivated every single day?
Well, it goes back to like, for so long it was I wanted to get my husband home more. Like, I mean, it was financial, really, because it was like, he wasn't seeing my girls. I grew up with a dad who worked that much, and I did not have a good relationship with him growing up. And my older sister didn't have a good relationship with the growing up, and so now I have a great relationship with him as an adult. But as a child, I mean, I AKA hated him, really, because I wanted him home more. I wanted him time with me. He was so stressed about money. And I said, when I get married, I don't want that for my girls. And
Mhm.
we had that. So in the beginning, it was definitely financial, and honestly still is, because our real estate can be up and down, and farming can be up and down, and I'd love to, and business can too, but I'd love to help give that more consistency to that, but I've never really been able to pour into my businesses like I am now. Before, it was like hobby in the nooks and crannies of the day when I was trying to raise my 3 older ones. Like, it was a makeshift of this hustle and grind, and we'd get some money here and we get some money over here. But for now, what's a deeper is like really what I'm called to do. Like
Mhm.
I said, when I said I was going to do 100 stages this year, it's like, I know I'm called to speak and serve and empower people with my voice. So
Mhm.
what can I do? So even if it doesn't reap a financial, and my achiever in me is like, Tab, you got to go get some money, like go do this and put the speaking off. I'm like, no, this is what I'm called to do. I know that I will reap these seeds. And
Mhm.
so it's a kind of a combination of like, it makes me feel alive. It brings me a lot of joy. I know I'm anointed in that. But also, I want to monetize this because I want to bring some time freedom to my husband, and also to show people like it doesn't matter where you live. I live in a town of 400 people, y'all. Like, it is
Wow.
tiny. And that does not stop me from going out and becoming the multimillionaire. It went beyond being a millionaire. It's like multimillionaire. What, and looking at myself as an 8-figure CEO. What does that do, and what identity? I would have never even considered that even 5 years ago, of saying I'm an 8-figure CEO. But it's like, I see myself as that. So if I already see myself as that, then of course I have to take those daily steps. So that
Yeah.
resiliency is bouncing back from the things, like the everyday stuff, like my funnel broke, or like I gotta do the techie stuff, which I hate, and it's like I have to go in there as a leader and find out where it's broken so that it can come alive and we can produce that. So I mean, it's a combination, because I'm a dreamer and I
Mm.
have visions, and I love the beach, and I live in Nebraska, guys. There's not a lot of beaches. So it's like, if I want my beach house, I'm gonna have to get to work. So it's
Right.
like, I can be all super spiritual and be like, oh, I want, but it's like, I have things that I want, for our
Mhm.
family and vacations. I'd love to go to Greece and Costa Rica, and those things cost money. And
Yeah.
so it's like, money is definitely a motivator for me. And I'm not ashamed to say that. And before, I might have been, but it's like, money is a motivator. But then also, like, what am I called to do? The parable of the talents. Am I going to go bury my talent in the backyard, and when I get to heaven, be like, okay, God, here's my talent. He's like, hey, you didn't use it.
Yeah.
And the thing is it's not about when we get to heaven. Like, we
Mhm.
can be a really great Christian. Like, if you believe in Jesus, you're going to heaven. It's about the blessings on earth. It's like,
Mhm.
what you use and how you are blessed on earth is how you use your gifts. And
Right.
really honing that skill, and like not being afraid of like going into coaching, even if it's investing or like courses, and just really sharpening my skill set. It
Mhm.
doesn't happen overnight. I mean, God gave me a voice, but he also gave me a voice that talked a lot, and all about me, and is and so it's like, I had to hone that skill, and I
Mhm.
had to really learn to bounce back. And that's my podcast is actually called What Went Wrong, Bouncing Back from Failure, because I
Mm.
feel like we learn from stories and we learn from failure. And
Yeah.
the faster you can bounce back from that, that you're going to reap the reward. And then
Mhm.
in that reward, there's going to be another valley. There just is, whether it's health, relationship, money, like you're not just going to have one blunder and then like life's all good. You build that muscle, you build that. And I love how at the beginning of this, you said you knew that with the technical difficulties, you knew something great was going to happen, because
Mhm.
that's same in life. Like if you're going through something right now, if you're struggling, if you feel like you're coming into your business, but like your relationship, you're fighting with your spouse or your partner or your kids. Like today, right before this, my middle daughter was like having a meltdown. And I'm like, Satan, no. Like she
Mhm.
is fine. I love her. You're not going to get in my head and make me feel guilty about coming on and doing this podcast. I'm not going to
Yeah.
use that as an excuse. I love her. I'm with her. It's not that I'm abandoning her, but in that moment, in that turmoil, there's a lot of, oh, I should be a better mom. I should be here. See, you're doing, like he wants to wedge in there. And I'm like, no, no,
Mhm.
I'm not going to let that. Or, my husband will say something, and I'm getting ready to go on a speaking thing and it like eats at me. And I'm like, no, this is
Mhm.
difficult to do. I know I'm a great wife. I know I'm a great mom. And I have to tell myself that because I don't always feel it, but I'm doing
Mhm.
that anyway. And that is what resilience is. It's doing it anyway, which is a tagline in our house. You do it anyway. You don't feel
Mhm.
like it, you do it anyway. It failed one time, you do it anyway. You do
Yeah.
it until it gets comfortable, then you do something else that's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, we did that when we were kids and we were learning to ride a bike.
Oh,
You fall
absolutely.
off, you get back on. You fall off, you get back on. You cry a little bit, you scrape your knee, you get back on. And
Yeah.
eventually you're riding the bike, no training wheels, no help necessary.
Yeah.
You started off and you go. So it's the same thing. But I like what you said too about seeing yourself as who you want to be or what you having what you want to have.
Yep.
So that envisioning that and speaking those things that be not as though they were. So you have to do that on a regular basis. Do you journal or do you have affirmations that you speak every day?
I was really good at journaling and affirmations before my fourth daughter. And then sleep deprivation and not getting up and allowing my time, I'll be honest. But it's one of those things, I don't want to like put it on my calendar, but I know that words flow a lot better in that moment. And I get a lot of like disgust out, like when you're frustrated and things like
Mhm.
that. I say a lot of things just in my head, especially if I feel like I'm not confident. And I just go inward and I'm like, okay, God, like I'm in my head. And I do like what we call still training, where like I'll get on a like exercise bike and I'll just like worship or like get all the disgust out, and then then I'll recite like who I am and like just pour it in. I feel like when you're physically depleted and you like pour that in, like psychologically it does a lot of
Mhm.
great things. And so there's nothing specific, and I think that that's okay, and I'm giving somebody freedom here. Like it doesn't have to be this like, we're big on habits at the beginning of the year, right? Like, okay, if I journal, when I do this, because then if you miss it or you don't do it, then you feel like, oh, see, I'm not those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I embody these things and I shift and I move. And when Morgan was saying, like, how do you shift and move? Those are specific things. Like, I like to be rigor in them, but I don't like to be so rigorous that I am all or nothing personality. So if I don't do it a little bit, then I won't. But I do know that when I write more, then when I am doing content creation, it comes a lot easier. So I can do it the hard way or I can do the easy way. And for me, it's just about like my two youngest ones, they still don't like to sleep. And I use that as an excuse, but it's like, when the alarm clock goes off and I'm just like 5 more minutes. I know I should be, journaling and doing those things.
Mhm.
But I'm also, when I'm in the office, I'm in the office. But like I said, taking those little time and reciting them in the car, in the shower. I'm a shower affirmation girl. Like I
Mhm.
am in the shower and I'm like, who am I? Like, what is this? What vision do I see? What is this? And I do like little note cards. So like, this is the year of the 100. So like, I have like, like 100 podcasts. So when I come into my office, I'm like, okay, what am I doing for those? Doing like sending out like 100 thank yous, 100 new moments with my kids. And so just reminding myself of the things that I want to not just accomplish, but be, because in those new moments, I'm exciting, I'm joyful, I forget all the stresses. Like we do dance parties in the middle of the kitchen, you know, like different things like that. It's like who I get to become in that, not just like an accomplishment. Does that make sense? Like in the journaling, it's not just about me saying, yes, I journal every day. It's like, I want to journal so that I have the right words. And I'll give you an example. I was really heavy into journaling like every day, and I was really into reading Psalms for whatever reason. I'm a Proverbs girl. I love Proverbs, and I was kind of going back and forth between Proverbs and Psalms, and I was reading Psalms a lot, and I was like, okay, I don't really know why. Well, then in 2018, and I was doing that. Well, in 2018, my sister passed away. And my mom had passed away in 2015, and I'd given her kind of eulogy. I wrote a poem, and it was good. It was good. And everyone was like, I can't believe you gave that. How could you do that at your mom's funeral? I was like, it's definitely a God thing. It was great. But when my sister passed away, I was like, I could feel the Holy Spirit saying, you need to write a poem. And I won't take too much time, but our relationship was very tumultuous. Like she was my role model until she wasn't. She was an alcoholic and things. And so I had this like admiration for her, but I had this like I'm mad as hell at her type of situation. And here she passed away due to alcoholism. And my dad was very raw, and my siblings, you know, and I thought, oh, you want me to write a poem? Like, I just don't know. We had picked out a poem that was beautiful for her, you know, eulogy and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, if it comes, if I'm able to do it, and I give it to my dad and he gives the approval, then we'll do it. We'll go forward. So I just start writing. And at first, you know, you crumple it up, but then it just flowed and it just flowed and it just flowed. And it was the Holy Spirit. Like I still read it and I'm like, I can't believe I wrote that.
Wow.
And I gave it to my dad. And I remember I was so nervous. It was probably the most nervous I've ever been in my life because I felt so emotionally raw, and he was raw. And I remember he looked at it and he got teary-eyed, but then he got kind of mad. And I remember sitting there like, oh shit, sorry. Like, oh, no. He threw it and he said, well, I guess the other poem just sucks now. And I remember I was like, is this good or bad? And like, I didn't know if I should laugh. And then my sister read it. And of course she's like, oh my gosh, you know, we have to use this. So we're like, okay, we're going to use this. We're going to put it like in the bulletin, you know, we're together. And I said, well, I want to read it. And the pastor said, you're not going to be able to read this. And I'm like, I can read this. I said, I have to try. And I got up there and I read it. And I mean, I got teary-eyed. I got a little choked up, but I was able to read it with clarity of who she was and what it was. And I say that because it was the preparation. Like God said, you need to journal, you need to read Psalms, you need to have these words so that when you're called to do something hard, like read a eulogy at your sister's funeral, and you have all these limiting beliefs, and you have her voice in your head saying, don't make it about you, and this is my funeral, and this better be good, you can show up. And a lot of things in your life right now, you are preparing. God is preparing you for that you don't even know. I didn't know she was going to die. I didn't know that I was going to write her eulogy. I mean, I have the words and I think that I will, but it wasn't something that I knew for certain that I was going to do. And when I was able to do it, I was able to deliver it and give my sister beauty in a funeral, which is really hard to do.
Yeah. Oh wow. That's powerful. The preparation before that, because when we look at business and when we look at life in general, we've been preparing for different events that's going to take place in our lives from childhood on up.
Yep.
Whether it was if you were very energetic and loud as a child and everyone's like, oh, you're too loud, but that's preparing you for who needs your energy, who needs that loudness, who needs that excitement, because there are people that are assigned to each one of us and they're looking for who we are right then, what has been planted in us. So that preparation, even in business, you know, many of us have an entrepreneurial mind, and it started at childhood, but we allow so many other things to come into play to just get us in a different track. Because I know growing up, we were taught, oh, you go to school, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a good job. And then here you are 50 years later, retiring from this place, and you have nothing to show for it. and you haven't really lived your life because you're focusing on, let me go here. Like, I'm an entrepreneur and I teach, but I have businesses and I'm working every day to build them because I'm like you. I don't like people telling me what to do. What?
Yep.
No, I want to be on my own schedule, making my money and helping people. That's my thing. I want to help people with these businesses. I want to help people get what they want out of life. But at the same token, it's going to help me in return. Like, I don't want you telling me what to do. You need to be here from 7 to 3. No, I'm getting up when I want to get up and doing it when I want to do it. And if I only want to work from 7 to noon, then that's what I'm doing. 7 to 7.
Amen.
So,
Yes.
yeah. Wow.
Yes.
So I think it's important for people to know what works for them.
Yeah.
So, like you said, the journaling, I was an avid journaler and I haven't done anything in probably since October of last year because things are just moving in my life and going. It's like, okay, I'm so busy with stuff that I'm doing and living my life. Like, I don't have time to sit down and write in here. Things are great.
Yeah, I know. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. That's, this is my journaling right here. This is my therapy. I come on here and I'm like, okay. And, and that's why I want to give people freedom of that. Like, it's okay to not do what everybody says, like your morning routine. I don't know if you guys follow Alex Hermosi, but he posts a lot of stuff about like, F your morning routine, like people, because people are like, if you make your bed, then you'll be a millionaire. And it's like, okay, I get the correlation, but not really. Because then people who think they make their bed have accomplished something. Like, I mean, I like a nice bed made, but that has nothing to do with me becoming a millionaire,
Right.
So it's like, it is doing little habits, but it's also not putting so much into that. It's like, what's actually moving the needle? Like, let's be real. Like, are you out there? Are you making offers? Are you speaking to compel? Are you moving an audience? Or are you just like, you tried one time or you had one coach burn you and you went back into the, you have your little blankie moment and you're like, oh, I got burned. You know how many times I've been burned by coaches? You know how many thousands of dollars I've invested, but I always find something, always, because it's my choice to find something good in it. Even if it was a complete X show, I won't use it's like, even if it was, I'm like, okay, then I learned how to not be a coach. And and they're good marketers. So what can I learn from their marketing? And, XYZ, I get to decide how that affects me. I don't become the victim. I become the victor in that. And even though I didn't go forward in that, I learn what I like and what I don't like. And that is the difference. It's just a mindset. It's like, you can say like the world's against you and I spent this money and my expectations weren't met. Well, guess what? Everybody in life has different expectations. Just like everybody has different perceptions. So if you choose to take something good, even from a crappy situation, if you haven't, then read the book A Man's Search for Meaning, because Viktor Frankl was in a concentration camp and he found beauty. So like, you getting burned by a coach or a course creation or whatever, that's just you finding, I mean, you're going to find manure in a flower field then, because it's like those, you're always going to find the what's wrong. But what if you figured out like what's right in that situation? And my podcast called What's Went Wrong, because when you look at what went wrong and then it turned into what went right, and you can focus on the what went right and learn from that failure, that in of itself is not even what went wrong. That's really what went right.
Yeah.
Because that got you to it.
Absolutely. I took a course from my mentor, and one of the things that she said to us in the workshop was to find the gift in everything. People equate things as being good or being bad. Don't put that label. What was the gift in it? What did you learn? Even if it wasn't favorable or went in the direction that you wanted to go, there's still something good. If you were detoured, if you're on your way somewhere and you get detoured because of construction, there's still a gift in that. What did you see? What was around you? What happened in the detour? Like, look at that. Don't get mad. Like, oh my God, this is going to cut off time. Well, maybe this is detouring you to slow you down because there's an accident about to take place and now you are going to miss that.
Yep.
Or maybe there's something in this area that you need to see. If you've been
Yep.
looking for a house and you want a home, there may
Yes.
be your home right here and you haven't
Yes.
discovered it yet. So that detour was necessary to get you there. So people even in business, guys, when you think about your business and how it's going, don't look at it being, oh, this was bad and it didn't work. No, what can you evaluate and say, okay, let me try this differently, or what did go well, let me capitalize on that. So we
Yes.
sometimes just get so angry and frustrated that we just like, I'm done, I don't want to
And
do
can
this.
I just say that when you decide to look for the positive, you decide to look for the lesson or the blessing that's in it, that actually allows for the blessings to overflow.
Oh, yes.
Actually, just a few days ago, I ended up getting some news that could have looked like a real big setback business wise. But funny enough, the day before I got this news, I got some other news that ended up being the solution for the setback. So, had I not been in a space of being able to see, I wouldn't have been able to see that this other little thing that seemed like it had nothing to do with anything. I was like, oh, well, why is this coming down the
Right.
pipe? And now here comes this huge upset. And it's like, oh, well, that's why that came about. So then I ain't got to worry about, Lord, you are so funny. And
I know.
you know what I mean? And so to not get yourself up in arms, and I was like, that's one of those things, like, you have to stop. I was like, my therapist is very, very big on like, stop yourself before you go really down that rabbit hole.
Yep.
And that's being self-aware. That's identifying what exactly it is. It's you knowing yourself and being honest with yourself. Like, yeah, I know this is really going to tear me up, but what am I going to do so I don't get into this space? And the more you grant yourself some grace and you come out of that, the more you get to see that, funny enough, like, yeah, the mountain over molehills, you're not going to cry over
Yeah.
any of this because you know what's on the other side of it. So it's just like,
Yes.
okay, next.
Yes. And when you give that grace, you're going to see it come back. And I know myself too. Like, I have high expectations. I have high standards. So when I'm in a coaching program, I mean, I'll instantly be like, ah, dang it. Like they promised this and they did this. And then I have to stop myself and be like, no, you're going to choose this and this and this. And was it your perception? Looking inward is hard because when you look inward, it's like you have to get through the like nitty gritty and like the blame and the guilt and the shame of what, however. But when you say there's no guilt, there's no shame, it's just indifferent.
Yep.
I am choosing to take this and look at it like I said, everything's an investment, but it's not always money return. Okay, if I do this, am I getting a new skill set? Am I getting a new perspective? Am I getting a new whatever that is? It's not always money, because eventually that will, in business, it will come and reap. When you learn a new skill, like that's going to reap you in money. But you can't always be like, okay, you know, people have buyer's remorse. I'm like, the only reason why you remorse that is because you don't have a belief in yourself that you're going to take something and benefit from it in some way. And you feel like you have been had or manipulated. We're all smart human beings. We're not really manipulated. We just have desires and we want them. And we want we want the easiest path of resistance. We're human, you know? And so when it doesn't come there, we're like, dang it, why not? Well, because it's not meant to. See, the work is, this is one thing, like spiritually, is like God did not have us work because he needed us to work in the Garden of Eden. Like, he did it because of it shaped who we are. He knew we needed a purpose, like to take care. Do you think God really needed Adam to take care of the garden? Like, no, but he knew the character that he would be building. That's why we are on this earth, because our character building. So when we go to heaven, we can have everything that we want. So it's like, it's not necessarily the end. And people say this is on a t-shirt and a bumper sticker, but you know, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. But it is true. It's about who you become and the characteristics that you do. So it might not be the ROI that you thought it was going to be, because it was meant to be different, because you needed shaping over here so that you could withstand. See, I've always wanted a multi-million-dollar company, but if God would have given it to me when I wanted it, it would have crushed me. And we probably wouldn't have had our two daughters. And I think about that, and I'm like, any moment that I feel like, I'm like, God, I know that this will happen. in your timing, even if I'm 60 or 70 or 80 or whatever, like it'll happen. And if it doesn't happen with me, it's going to happen generational. So it's not just about me, it's about my daughters. And so I've seen the vision. I know that, but I have to be humble enough to know, like, okay, it's the process. And the activator and the achiever of me, that can overcome it. And I have to take a step back and give myself grace and say, okay, where are we at in this?
Yeah.
And trust that.
Absolutely. So tell us about your businesses and your podcast so people may want to connect.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have the What Went Wrong, Bouncing Back from Failure podcast. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, pretty much anywhere you can get where you can get podcasts. We're launching episode number 5 this week. I do interview series with different entrepreneurs, but I also tell stories of like famous people who have really had, setback failures and then where they're at today. Like I did one on like the Post-it note and Dyson vacuum and Orville Redenbacher, stories that people might have heard or they kind of know the vague. I try to go as deep as I can get, doing research in different areas or whatever, but just really giving people hope in the failure. So like even with like bubble wrap. So that was not created for bubble wrap. They actually created it for interior design wallpaper. And then it became, bubble wrap, which like everybody uses for everything. And so the reason why I shared that story was because you might be creating something right now and you think it's going to look like this. Like you have a vision of what it's supposed to look like, and it doesn't become that. That doesn't mean it's a failure. It's like, what can we develop with that? Like these guys, they tried to do the wallpaper thing and then it didn't work out. So then they tried to do it for greenhouse insulation. It didn't work out for that. And then finally a guy found it and said, hey, let's wrap the computers with it in the early 90s. And then it took off. And so there might be something you're creating, even if it's like a service that it doesn't look like. When I started, I was a fitness business. And now currently my coaching is, and I'm helping speakers speak to compel and speak to sell. And did I think that was going to morph? Not necessarily. Me and my husband also have aspirations this year to do like a masterclass of, we call it legacy wealth. So it's how to do creative investments, how to instill values in your kids. So the wealth you build right now will not dwindle in 2 and 3 generations, that they can continue that wealth, kind of masterminding even with the kids and the family and different things like that. I never thought I would be doing that, but it all has had opportunity to create to do that. So that's currently what we're doing. I'm doing some masterclass with this speaking to sell. And that just, again, was somebody whispered something to me saying, hey, this content that you're doing, like my audience needs it. Can you do a masterclass? And I'm like, sure. And then they were like, hey, what is your offer? Like what program? What are you doing? I'm like, I really don't have one yet because I was just giving my value. I was just giving my knowledge to them. And I'm like, you know what? This has been on my heart to do for over a year, but I didn't feel qualified. And now this is like solidifying, like, yes, I can do this. I can help people serve in that way. So that's what our group coaching program is currently right now, is speaking to sell. And then my podcast that we have for everybody to just really give inspiration. Stories really inspire us to take action, and we really learn from stories. And that's why I love sharing other people's stories of failure to triumph.
Wow. Awesome. So you have heard the ways to connect with Tabitha on everything that she's doing. Oh, wow. How exciting. I can't wait to listen to the podcast. I'm going to look it up.
Yes.
Look it up.
I have a plethora of free trainings at tabstrainings.com. Okay. Everything that I've ever given in fitness, business, anything, you click the tab that you want, on there. I have like Fierce Fitness, which was my first business. So like different things on that. You can get freebie in any area, because I'm like, I have all this stuff. I might as well give it away because it's in my vault. And so it's just kind of that library. And also it will be posted there for the next master classes that we host.
Awesome. We like free people. Yes. Hey, y'all better go on there. You like free stuff. So that's great. And that's why you have been as successful as you are, and then more things to come, because you don't hoard it and say, oh no, I'm going to charge for this. And no, you're just going to give that. Here, take this. If it's going to help you, then do that. We have enjoyed having you on.
Oh, it's been fun.
Oh my goodness. I'm sitting here and I'm so inspired and so excited. As I'm sitting here, I kid you not, my cousin told me, oh my God, it's been several years ago that I needed to write a course for Udemy. You've heard of Udemy. And
Yep.
so he's like, you need to write a course about what you do. And I'm like, well, okay. And I just kind of played around with it, like not really did anything. And as I'm sitting here tonight, I got the course that I need to do.
Oh, there you go.
After years of, okay, I'll just leave that alone. And just sitting here. So I'm going to put this course together and put it on Udemy. Oh, whoa!
Breakthrough.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. Thank you for inspiring me and coming on and saying all that you did that really resonated with me personally. I can only speak for me, and that, oh my goodness. I feel I'm good. I'm good. Mo, what about you?
Listen, as I said in the email, I really appreciate you just being ready and, on it and willing to last minute jump in. I was trying to figure out, we were going back and forth with trying to get like the right date and whatnot. And Tabitha was like, listen, like we had such a great conversation. I would really like to be able to do this. And so I was like, well, let me talk to my co-host. Let's see what can happen. And honestly, like I said, things are just, divinely appointed. So I really do appreciate you just being ready. They say, be ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's
right. If that is not just the epitome of that, I thoroughly appreciate you, Tabitha. Thank you so much.
Well, I am honored to be on here. It's been so much fun. You ladies are so awesome. This has been awesome. I'm so glad that we got connected, and I am now an official hop.
Yes.
Person.
Absolutely. Exactly. We got exactly.
Hop family.
Absolutely. Come right back in for Friday now, a volume, a part 2, if you'd like to as well.
Yes. Absolutely. Just let me know. Like I said, I love to come on here and serve. And like, it's like I have this goal, but it's also just like so much fun for me. I'm like,
absolutely. But we're glad we could help you. You know what I mean? You on the anniversary and then you get to
off
of your 100. So there you go.
Absolutely. Well, folks, we have come to the end of another phenomenal show on this evening. We are so grateful that Tabitha was able to come on at the last minute, but she came and rocked it and brought some things that I'm sure blessed you because they blessed me. If you have not subscribed to House of Peach, y'all need to scan that QR code and subscribe. We are on every single Tuesday evening at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as you can see from the beginning of the year, we have brought the heat. And if you think we are done, we are not. We are just beginning. And this is our 1-year anniversary. How exciting. I think we'll go for 2. What do you say, Morgan? We'll go
absolutely. Look, I'm here for the long haul.
We're in it. We're in it to win it.
We're in it to win it. Absolutely.
We're going to do even greater things with House of Peach. We're excited. We are excited. So y'all join us again next Tuesday at the same time. Oh, and I would be remiss if I didn't do a shameless plug on my live. So if you don't know anything about, if you don't know anything about these liquid vitamins, y'all need to check with me. It's right here. Change your life.
I can't wait for book 2.
I am. I started last weekend, I think it was, on it. So it's in the works. It's in the works. And it's another 31-day devotional, and I have all 31 titles. And I was just trying to, like, God, what am I going to do? How? And he says, you already have them written. They're already written. I'm like, where? He told me exactly where to go. And I'm sitting there as I'm typing, I'm cracking up because every single entry I already had. And I was like,
that's wonderful.
Yeah. So soon I will drop volume 2 of Intentional You, A Push to Destiny. So make sure y'all be on the lookout. But I still have copies of the first volume. So I need to get those out the way so the new ones can come in. So, how exciting. So join us next week. We will have another great guest here on the show. We are booked, y'all, until June.
Yes.
So if you are a female entrepreneur and you haven't been on the show, or you know someone, you need to let them know, hey, you need to get in contact with April or Morgan, or reach out on House of Peach page, something to get your name on the schedule, because we want to talk with you. We want to have a sit down on the couch and have a conversation and talk about your business, talk about your life and everything that you've done, because we want to inspire, encourage, uplift, and push people into the destinies that we know that they are to have. And our guests come on and give that information. They give that inspiration. They give you that push. And many of them give you the answer to the questions that you've had. So come on, join us. And we will see you all next week. Have a good evening and a great rest of your week. Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, one more juicy. Coming up.